This practice of Yin is a practice that is a non-active practice in a way. It's an exploring, a putting yourself into a shape that is then completely propped up. And in the shape, you explore yourself. So you explore your mind, you explore sensations in the body, you explore your breathing. It might not be all at once that you explore these, it might be different times. You also explore your relationship with your edge. So the edge, by that I mean if you took yourself to your furthest point of extension, of expansion in this shape, where would that be? And in a lot of times in our yoga practice, we tend to take ourselves, like we push ourselves right to the very edge, and then possibly even beyond. And we don't necessarily give our bodies time to expand into that space. So this practice gives us plenty of time because we hold each posture for anything from 3 to 5 minutes. So there is no rush to get anywhere. So in this shape, feeling yourself held by the earth, so your relationship with the earth. The parts of you that are touching the earth. And as you start to soften the back body into the ground, sense of increasing the openness of the front of the body. So there's a reading that I would like to offer you. This one's quite well known. It's from Thich Nhat Hanh. And it's from his book, Touching Peace. And it starts with breathing in. I know I am breathing in. Breathing out. I know I am breathing out. In, out. Breathing in, I see myself as a flower. Breathing out, I feel fresh, flower fresh. Breathing in, I see myself as a mountain. Breathing out, I feel solid, mountain, solid. Breathing in, I see myself as still water. Breathing out, I reflect things as they are. Water, reflecting. Breathing in, I see myself as space. Breathing out, I feel free. Space, free. I'm going to start to slowly move out. You're going to hold your hands under your thighs and gently draw the knees back towards one another. And then draw the knees in towards you. Place one hand on each knee and just roll the knees round in one direction. Noticing how it massages the lower spine. And then in the opposite direction. And then dropping the feet down to the ground, and then just opening, taking the feet to the edge of your mat, and you want to parallel the feet to the edge of your mat, okay? So the feet are quite, they're really wide apart. And then take the arms out, and then just dropping the knees to one side, and then turning to look away from the knees. Inhaling to center, exhaling to the opposite side, turning the head to look away from the knees. And you're just going to oscillate like this slowly. Make sure your feet are on the ground. The next time the knees come to center, making that the last one, just going to walk the feet in a little bit. So we're going to do a little bit of work on the hips today. So we're going to lift up the right leg, and you're just going to place the ankle across the top of the thigh, so just above the knee. And then you're going to reach through behind the left thigh, or behind the left knee, and start to draw that leg in towards you. So if you can't quite reach here, then you can use a belt. Okay. And then you can use your right elbow to gently guide the right knee away from you. So the left knee is drawing towards you, the right knee is drawing away from you. And again, you're playing around with your edge. So noticing where your furthest extension is. And then backing away from that and allowing your body time to move towards it. And you might want to circle a little bit through the left ankle. So you have a whole kind of another 3 minutes in this shape. There's plenty of time to explore. So tonight is the full moon, and this is a lovely practice to do for the full moon because being yin, which is the sort of non-active, as it were, it's the replenishing, it's the intuitive, it's the soft, it's the fluid. And the place where the feminine is held is in the pelvis, where this feminine energy is located. The solar energy is in the solar plexus. The feminine is represented by the moon, by the luna, is in the pelvis. And this is a watery realm. So it's the home of our emotions. The last minute coming up, so deciding how close you wish to play around the edge now. So you can go right up close if you feel that your body has opened enough. Or you might decide today, this evening, that you're going to back away from that edge. Or you might stay exactly where you are. Just releasing the legs down. Again, taking the feet wide, open the arms wide. And again, just dropping the legs to the knees to one side, turning the head to look away from the knees, and then just oscillating the opposite way. So nice fluid movements. And really noticing your pelvis from the inside out. Noticing the fluidity of your breathing. The sense of really noticing that you're breathing in. So tracking your inhalation. Tracking your exhalation. And then eventually bringing the knees back to center, separating the feet hip distance apart now, and then bringing the left ankle across the top of the right knee, then reaching through the gap behind the right leg. And as you draw that right knee in towards you, you're encouraging the left knee to draw away. And again, you might want to circle through the ankle of the right leg. And being very aware of how this side feels to the other side. Deep in the pelvis, around the hip joints, the base of the spine, the tailbone area. Perhaps even the ovaries, the womb. So some more words to describe yin. So yin is obviously feminine, and she is passive. She is dark. She is earthy. She is water. She is softness. She is nighttime, moonlight, intuitive, nurturing, sensitive. The last minute coming up, seeing how close to your edge you wish to play. And just lowering the legs down. Now we're going to stay on the back for a moment. And if you have a strap, then you can use a strap or a scarf, or just using your hands. You're going to keep the left foot planted on the ground. You're going to lift the right leg up. If you have a strap, you can use the strap over the sole of the foot. Okay. The leg is straight and the pelvis is level. So we tend to hook up on this side and shorten on the side that you're lifting the leg. So I want you to actually pull that sit bone down so the leg stays, the side body stays the same length. And then you're gradually allowing the foot or the leg to draw towards you. Keep your elbows on the ground. So this is very relaxed. We're not tugging and pulling. And I see people like gripping the strap for dear life and their knuckles are turning white. So I don't want any gripping, but everything is relaxed. So it might be that your hamstrings are quite tight, the leg might be further away. Or if you haven't got a strap, you can hold behind the back of the thigh. Or if the leg, if your hamstrings are loose, so you might find eventually you can get the hand behind the calf, but take your time into this. Okay. And you're really using the time that you have in this shape to explore. So this is looking within, looking into the dark. With the illumination of the moon. So the moon in this instance is your intelligence. You're seeing what you can discover about yourself in this shape. Might be that you discover that it's not actually your hamstrings that are tight, it might be your calf muscles. It might be the back of your knee. You might feel sensations further up around the back, so that the long muscles either side of the spine. So you inhale, inhabit the whole leg as you slightly lift up through the heel. As you exhale, there's a sense of melting, of surrendering, of releasing. You can slowly lower that leg down. And then just straighten both legs out and be in your whole body for a moment. Noticing what that shape, the work that you've done on the right leg, how does that feel in that leg? So not just physically, like yes, you've lengthened the muscles, you've probably worked a little bit with the tendons and the fascia, but energetically, how does it feel? Possibly emotionally. And then bending both knees again. And then this time lifting the left leg up. Remember, you're using a strap or something, if you have something, around the ball of the foot. If not, then hold behind the thigh, and then eventually you can possibly, if the leg releases enough, you can move the hands further up. If you're holding onto a strap, slide the hands down the strap so that the elbows are on the ground. And being aware that your sit bone wants to be drawing towards the end of your mat, so the pelvis is nice and level. And as you inhale, you're lifting up through the heel. Toes are spreading. There's a spaciousness around the sole of the foot. As you exhale, there's a sense of releasing. But it's a gradual process. When we're in balance in our pelvis, in the energy of the pelvis, which is our second chakra, we can flow with nature. There's a sense of being in touch with nature, of not going against the grain. And we can have a connection with life force. It's like things swim in the right direction, as opposed to feeling like you're battling upstream all the time. This also gives us a connection with our creativity. So how does this side feel to the other side? What differences are there? lowering that leg down. Again, stretching both legs out in front of you. And just being with the entire body, noticing how that feels. Then bending both knees, you're gently going to roll up and you're going to come onto all fours. So we're just going to work with the spine a little, bringing a little bit of movement. So you're going to move from the tailbone all the way up through to the crown of the head, cat-cow, bowing the head, drawing up through the shoulder blades and the movement tracking to the base of the spine. So moving from one end of your spine to the other. It's like this slow, meandering mountain stream. In certain places, there might be like little blockages of stones in the water. So just noticing where those are. And then finally coming to a neutral position, and then just circling through the hips. The slow circles round in one direction. You might even want to come into a figure of 8. And slowly coming to a pause. And then tracking around the opposite direction. The part of this, the energy center of the pelvis encourages us to move with fluidity and change, to not be rigid, which I guess the situation at the moment is definitely challenging, this sense of needing to be very fluid and creative in how we're adapting. And then slowly coming to a halt. So you're going to take your knees super wide, so right to the edge of your mat. If you have a bolster, this would be really good, or you could put some cushions underneath you, or blanket. You could kind of like roll the blanket up a little bit, so it makes a little bit of a roll. That might work too. Okay. And then you're going to lengthen along whatever you constructed. So you want it to come in kind of about halfway in the thighs, and you're taking the knees as wide as you can get them. Okay, so to the edge of the mat or possibly even off the mat. The sit bones stay rooted down on the heels. If you find that you're lifting like this, then put, whether it's your another blanket or a cushion or a block under the sit bones so that you're held. Okay? And then you're lengthening your spine as you come down. And then turning the head to one side and just allowing yourself to release through the inner groins. So, who's that? Hilary, can you get your feet together more? Yeah, so the big toes are touching, everyone. I should have said that. Big toes touch and knees are really wide. So, like that. And then you're coming forwards. It's like a really wide-legged child's pose. And as you settle into this shape, feeling a sense of heaviness, of you not having to support yourself, that actually you can let go in this and be like a child being supported. And being aware as you breathe in of the movement in the back of your body. So trying to stay very rooted within yourself. This is the realm of intro perception, which is the noticing of what happens inside the body, as opposed to proprioception, which is how your body moves in space or how it's orientated in space. Gently drawing yourself upright. And then we're going to move into a squat. So you may need like a block or a blanket or book, whatever you have to put your heels on. If you're the sort of person who has lovely open hips and you can quite happily squat without your heels lifting, and you're able to happily hang out there for 3 minutes, then wonderful. If not, then I always find it really easy to, or to make it easier for myself by having my heels on something. So although I can get my heels onto the ground, hanging out there for 3 minutes and being not in a state of trauma about it, I need to have my heels a little higher. Or the other option is, if you're somewhere in between, have a blanket to put your heels on. Like so, if you need to be higher, have two, so have more height. Okay. I'm hoping that everybody is okay in this. So screaming at home. Okay. And if this is too much, the hips, another option is actually coming against the wall and just sliding down like this, which is another way of doing it, which makes it quite accessible then. Okay, whatever variation on a theme you're working with, and remember, this is not about endurance. And I think this is one of the things that the moon gives us, is the sense of softness and sensitivity and inquiry. So we're not hardening in this shape. We're softening into the shape. We're not pushing our muscles. We're encouraging from a very gentle place. And we're inquiring as to what is happening in our body. And how is it if you, rather than fight against any intense sensation, how is it if you fully embrace the sensation? So it's almost like you're diving into the deep and you're exploring. And it might feel uncomfortable, but what does that intense sensation feel like if you dive into it? What are the shades of it? What's the taste of it? Last 30 seconds coming up. And then slowly lifting. And then coming into dangle. So from here, the feet are wide. They're kind of almost as wide as your mat. And you're just going to bend the knees slightly and just dangle yourself down. So you can allow the arms to flop, or you can hold on to alternate elbows if you wish. So whatever feels comfortable for you. Just going to use this as a transitional pose. And you may even wish to support your head on something. Yeah. Make sure that the feet are parallel and that the knees are bent. We're going to try and tilt your sit bones up towards the sky, but allow the spine to cascade like water. Again, like the mountain stream. Wangi, are you up in a forward bend? That's it. Charlotte, are your knees bent? Bend them quite a bit. There shouldn't be anything going on in the hamstrings here. It's all about releasing the spine. And release. And then just coming back down to the ground. And then we're going to come into a series of forward bends, seated forward bends. So gather together some things that you may need to support yourself with. So you can sit on the edge of a blanket, okay? Or you can be on a block or a book or a cushion. And then we're going to take the legs out. We're going to come into half dragonfly. So you want to come on the edge of the block or the blanket or whatever you're sitting on. Okay? Or you can be straight on the floor. It depends on your flexibility. And then you're going to keep the right leg stretched out. You're going to separate the feet a little bit. You're going to bend the left knee and then draw it out to the side. So in the Yang style of practice, the hatha practice, this is Jana Shashasana. If this knee needs support, if it's lifted up, then use something, pillows, cushions, blankets to prop this knee up. And then you're going to turn slightly towards the extended leg, and you're going to start to lengthen across the leg. So don't think I've got to get down to my leg because it rounds the back too much and we end up stressing through our neck. So I want you to think that your heart is moving towards your foot. So there's a softening of the spine here. You're gradually lengthening. So you've got plenty of time. You've got, 3 minutes to hold this in, to explore. I think because I go to the mountains, it reminds me of walking up a mountain path. That you have to, if you go full pelt straight away, you end up losing energy. And so you have to pace yourself. So, and like each turn of the mountain path reveals different viewpoints. So these amazing views as you get further up. So it's a little bit like that for me. So I have to pace myself, and then I get different views as I go along the mountain path. So last minute coming up, deciding whether you need to back it off a little bit, to play away from the edge. So really listening to your body. Or maybe you stay exactly where you are, or maybe you can extend a little bit further now. That the fascia has expanded enough for you to access a new place. Maybe the edge has moved. And gently releasing. And then we work on the opposite side. So left leg extends, and then the right knee is bent. You might want to pull the flesh back away from the sit bones to help with this tilting forwards. Another thing to notice is if you're too far back on your sit bones, you kind of get jammed, so you can't go any further forwards from this. So you want to come actually up and over, so you want to maneuver over your leg bone with your pelvis. If the hamstrings are tight and you can't access that, having a slight bend in the knee is helpful. So you can place something under the calf perhaps, so the knee is slightly bent, which will give you more access, a little bit like in the dangle. You'll be able to drape yourself along the leg a little bit easier. So that's another option. So just beginning your journey on this side. And remember, there is no destination to get to. It's a whole exploration rather than where even if you were to get your head down to your leg, then there would be something else to explore. I love this St. Augustine. People travel to wonder at the height of the mountains, at the huge waves of the seas, at the long course of the rivers, at the vast compass of the ocean, at the circular motion of the stars, and yet they pass by themselves without wandering. The last minute coming up, just checking in with how far you wish to expand on this side. And slowly rising. So, dragonfly. Again, using whatever it is that you're using to sit on a blanket or block. You want to, if possible, put it at an angle. So with this one, we're taking the legs out nice and wide. So you can be sitting on the ground if you have enough flexibility through the hamstring. You might want to gather things to rest your head on if you have enough things. So when you come into this, you can just rest your head. Like I said with the previous pose, if you want to support your calves so that the knees are slightly bent in order for you to come forwards, that's a good place to start too. Okay, so just organizing yourselves with whatever you need. And yeah, bolsters work too. You know, you can have it sort of stuck up like this. And just resting your head. Or, you know, snuggling it, using things underneath to hold it. That works. Again, we have a 3-minute hold. So just noticing how you are in this shape. So how still can you be? And stepping to that place of just observing. You're going to work your way up, and then if you just bring your hands under your thighs and use your hands to gently bring the legs together. And then we're going to finish with a back bend. So you can use a bolster here, or you can use blocks. Okay, we're not going to come up super high, so I'm going to do bridge pose. So something slightly higher than that, or that with maybe a blanket on top. So whatever you can find, or some cushion perhaps. And then so you can see I'm sort of not very high off the ground, but I'm still extending. So rather than rolling my shoulders in, I'm still expanding across the front of the chest. I'm checking that my feet are in the same plane, and then widening the feet a little bit, making sure the feet are parallel. We're going to do a little bit of counting the breath in this shape. I'm going to put on my metronome, which is a 6-count inhale, 6-count exhale. I can get it to work. Hopefully you can all hear that. So where it pings is when you exchange the breath, or the inhale for the exhale, exhale for the inhale. And once you've settled into this pattern of breathing, just observing perhaps which feels easier, the inhale or the exhale, what the exchange of breath is like. Whether you're holding your breath at any point, waiting for the metronome to catch up with you, or you're speeding up. And then just allowing your breath to normalize. Because you're not shaping the breath any longer. Allowing it to settle. And then gently coming down off of whatever it is that you're lying on. And like we had right at the beginning of the class, I want to just draw the knees in towards you. And then circling the knees round, massaging the base of your sacrum, the base of your spine. And in the opposite direction. And just hugging the knees in. And as you breathe out, draw your nose towards your knees. Inhale to lower. Exhale, nose to knees. And inhale to lower. And then bringing the feet onto the ground. And coming up. So, time for Yoga Nidra. So making a nice comfy place for yourself. You may want a cushion or a pillow or something for under the head, blankets for on top of you. So make sure you're nice and comfortable so that once the practice starts, you don't have to move. Make sure the back of the neck is long, the shoulders are down the back. Just take last few moments just to settle. Make any last minute adjustments. And then taking a deep breath in and out. Letting go of any stress, tension. And again, deep breath in and out. And one more. You're going to begin to count down with your breath from 10 to 0. So each exhalation takes you down another step. So exhaling 10, exhaling 9, and so on. The closer you get to zero, the more your mind and body become established in a place of peace and stillness. So there's no rush, really feeling your inhalation and exhalation. And when you arrive at zero, being a sense of the mind and body, place of stillness. And just listening. So listening to sound without judgment. So it's as if you were a recording device. It's just recording the sounds that you hear. Just observing sound. No effort, no trying. Your mind wanders, just bring it back to listening, to observing the sound that you hear. And gradually letting go of the observation, becoming aware of your body on the ground, on the earth. And the different parts of your body that are touching the earth. The heels, feeling them heavy, almost sinking into the earth. The calves, the thighs, the buttocks, shoulder blades, back of the hands, forearms, elbows, upper arms, feeling heavy, sinking into the earth. The back of your spine. It's almost as if you're making an indentation in the ground. almost as if you're deeper into the earth, through the strata of the earth, down towards the core. Create the feeling of heaviness, feeling yourself sinking more and more. This practice of Yoga Nidra is yogic sleep with a slight trace of awareness. Your awareness is on the heaviness of your body sinking into the earth. And then begin to become aware of the space under the body. So the space just under your ankles, the space under the back of your knees, the space around your lower back, the space between the shoulder blades, the space at the back of your neck, the space under your wrists. And having the sense of the space under your body. No trying, just deep relaxation and feeling space. And becoming aware of all these spaces at once. And feeling space now under your heels, under your calves, space under your buttocks, under your shoulder blades, under the base of your skull. The increasing space under your body. And your body starts to feel so light, as if you're floating on a cushion of air just under the body, feeling your body light. No trying, just sensing this lightness under your body. The body feels so light and spacious, almost as if it's floating upwards. Sensing yourself rising up, up, up. You become part of the night sky. Sensing the illumination of the moon that glows over your body. Sensing, feeling spaciousness. Feeling the confines of your body dissolving as you expand out. So starting to deepen your breath. Bringing the awareness back. Wiggling fingers and toes. And I offer you a poem. But remember this from Dharma Folds. Vast and changeless, the ground of being is not rocked by ripples on the pond. The firmament from which we spring, the divinity at the heart of things, doesn't wax or wane with mind states or wither in the wind. We come from stronger stuff than feelings. Essence does not fail or fade, diminish or trade reality for illusion. We are wordless, wide and wise beyond time. Within us is a flame of truth that never dies. Let that be the focal point of life. Let that be the light that guides us in the shadows. When you're ready, gently making your way up into sitting in your own way.